interesting things about Bellarmine is what people know about it, and then the mistakes they have about what Bellarmine really is. You know, they talk a lot about diversity in San Jose, and San Jose has a lot of diversity. And for a major American city, it works pretty well. It doesn't work perfectly, but it works pretty well. People get along. And I like to think that Bellarmine is a model of that, both today, but more importantly, if you look back. If you look back again at the Ellis Island tradition, as I call it, of what it was like when those first 37 students in their graduating class came down in 1926. You know, you had Germans, and you had Irish Americans, you had Italian Americans, you had French, you had Croatians. And I think most of you that are my age or around there understand that, you know, Italians and Irish really had some fairly serious concerns about one another. You know, I mean, you know, I think most of you will remember some grandmother, some grandfather saying, "Oh, you're over there with an Italian," or, you know, "Are you going out with that Irish guy?" You know, these are legitimate concerns, but it also was, I think, a significant thing as you look at this valley of how all that morphed and all that changed, and how there really is no more of that, obviously between Italians and Irish and Croatians and whatnot. And that, I think, has set an exemplar and a model for what this city has become. It's become a place where most people get along pretty well. And all we have to do is look at the evening news to see so many places, not only in this country, obviously, but other places, where people don't get along so well. So there's symmetry and there's tradition. You know, in that first kind of graduating class and that group of people, you know, my father's best friends were people named Campisi and San Filippo and Greco, and even later on somebody like Kakuza, the latecomer tonight. You know, and during my very brief meteoric political career. For more on that, you please pick up my book and do so. You know, the people who were most associated with me were people like Christina and Biagini and Corsilia and DiNapoli and Kakuza again. That guy must be 120 years old. But, you know, Italians and Irish and so many other individuals, you know, the grandsons of people who came through Ellis Island, or the great-grandchildren, or the children, in many cases, from that first class, you know, learned a lot of things here at Bellarmine. And they learned a lot of things about how you deal with one another and how you get along with one another. You know, the connection, I think, made here, I don't think I have to tell this group, was pretty complete and pretty unique. You know, what happened here as we changed from this small agricultural community into the capital of Silicon Valley, a place to change the world, you know, as we begin not just to grow out as a community, but to grow up, as we put a lot of time and attention into the companies we built and the downtown and cultural institutions that so many people in this room and I personally have worked on. I think we understand that a lot of things that happened in this valley were so unique and so individual. I don't know if they'll ever be repeated again. You know, I don't know if there's really one brief shining moment or any of the other little phrases you can use, but they were significant, important, and I think as we look around the larger world, there are things that we can all feel very comfortable about, and very proud, I think, that we had some participation in. So you have a school here set in the middle of a city named after St. Joseph, in a valley that used to be called Santa Clara and now is known the world over as Silicon Valley. To me, it's an antidote against cynicism. It's something where we understand that there are so many things that when we pull together we can accomplish, that as in every endeavor, you're greater than the sum of your parts as you pull yourself together. You know, one of my favorite songs by U2 is The Hands That Built America. And as you look around this campus and as you look at the individuals on the wall, and you think of all the great traditions here, some of them still continuing with people like Father Cobb and Jerry Wade and Father Sheridan, you really have to understand that we not only owe a debt to those people who preceded us, but we owe a lot to the people who we are involved in then and now. And it's something that kind of warms the cockles of your heart on a fall evening. So thank you for inviting me here this evening.
there'll be a DVD for sale.
I think you ought to give him the 25 bucks back. He came over from Santa Cruz. He said, please don't use that dyeing the green hair thing. They've heard that before. How many of you have heard the green hair story before? See, okay. You know, again, I used to speak before larger crowds and I used to get paid. Now I'm reduced to having to call Frank Kakuza up 10 minutes before the speech and say, are you coming? And you know,
I was always coming, I was just, I fell asleep. But I mean, you call me.
Frank, look around this
That wasn't during
audience.
this speech.
If you had Bono and Barack Obama here tonight, you couldn't get most of these guys to come out from a dead sleep.
How would they come out today?
Thank you, Tom. Okay.